seasoned Lebanese-American journalist who has covered the Middle East for the last 3 decades. She's also the founder and executive chairman of the Beirut Institute and joins me live from Beirut. Great to have you on the program with us. As of course, we've been reporting Hezbollah has lost its majority in parliament. What do you make of the results? What is the significance of all of this?
It's a very strong message to Hezbollah that the Lebanese are not going to lie low and have them take over the country. The message did not come only from one sect or from one religion. It included the Shiites, who did not come out in big numbers to vote pro-Hezbollah. So the message is also related to the allies of Hezbollah, the Tayyar al-Watani, which is called the Free Patriotic Movement, who were providing the Christian cover for Hezbollah. Now, they also lost their majority, and the pro-Syrian forces, or figures rather, big figures, who have been known to be very pro-Syrian throughout decades, they have been ousted. So the message is very strong. Hezbollah cannot go on dictating its place in the Lebanese politics through its own weapons, that the Lebanese are ready to say, no, we are now we are no longer afraid to speak of the weapons of Hezbollah, and we can have a voice. Hopefully, the international community will listen to this voice and help the Lebanese make a difference in taking this country out of the hole that has been put into not only by Hezbollah, but by lots of people in the governing this country who are really corrupt to the extent that is almost unimaginable.
So voters clearly have made their voices heard, but what are your expectations for this parliament? Are you hopeful that lawmakers can come together to work on the reforms and laws needed in order for Lebanon to get back on track, to get the IMF bailout package it needs to turn around its economy?
Well, I'm hopeful that the people who are coming in, whether they are from the civil society or those who are opposed to the opposition by the dual, it's called the Thunai Shi'i, the two Shiite groups, Hezbollah and Amal, who have been opposing the very essence of reform and also of accountability for the explosion of the port. They have been opposed to all of this, the process of legality, the process of international admission into Lebanon through the reforms. They are now under scrutiny. The problem is, what I'm afraid of, is that Hezbollah, as it started to threaten, is not going to make this an easy win or an enjoyable win. Hezbollah is going to make it very difficult with the help of Amal, their partner, and they are going to probably block the formation of a government. They are going to make the battle for the presidency lengthy. They might want to think that the void is good for them. And so they are going to play it tough internally. And maybe, I'm afraid to say, I will not exclude the external element. And by that I mean a conflict with Israel that might be helpful to Hezbollah in order to reshuffle the situation, what happened, and try to reverse their losses.
Talk to us about the reality there in Lebanon for people who are dealing with the fallout of the collapse of the economy and all the political corruption. Day-to-day life, what is that like?
It's really, for the majority, the great majority of the Lebanese, is unbearable. And the psychological impact is one thing, but the actual impact of what happened is another. When somebody is unable to send kids to school or go to the hospital and don't know what tomorrow looks like. This is the very big problem. People watch the value of the dollar in order to figure out what do they do on their daily living. That is, it's unforgivable, quite honestly, what has happened in this country, that the people of this country have been impoverished on purpose by the very people who have decided to rule them, who have decided that they are the ones who are going to stay in government no matter what. This is why this vote is important. It's an outcry, a small one. It's not an overturn of this elitist, corrupt group. It's not a total get rid of them campaign. It would be marvelous if this happened, but it's not what happened. The trouble is that we are so deep in the hole that it's going to take determination, not only by the Lebanese. I need to say that more than once. The Lebanese have been blamed that you don't take care of yourselves, you don't get up and say no. Now they started. But this is not doable on the level of Lebanon alone. It has to be an international community. Hezbollah is not only a Lebanese component, Hezbollah is Iran. Iran is playing havoc in this country. And we need to make sure that there is, as I said, accountability, not only for the explosion of the port, but also for all this corruption. This is a robbery. This is highway robbery of this country, of its presence and future. People have lost, actually, they've lost deposits. And can you imagine older people who have thought they are going to be retired? They don't even have probably even insurance to cover their health. So it's a dire situation. We need the international community. So please spread the word. The Lebanese started to act, and they need you.
All right. Certainly, Raghida Dergham joining us in Beirut. Thank you.